So this is Baruch. Here we are back at the Parshas Saba, and we're continuing to read along the story of Rebbe Shimon and Rebbe Lazar, who ran into this old man who was holding the hand of a little boy, and he is speaking. And basically, what he said in yesterday's shir was that Hashem brings us into the worst place in the world. He takes us out of the utter hold of the klipa, the falseness, and all of the magic and the wrongness and the blackness of Egypt. He brought us out. But where did he deliver us to? He delivered us to one of the worst, the worst place in the world. That's where we live. Amongst the most barbaric people. Remains to be seen. And why did he do that? He did that. Hashem brought us Jewish people, and we see that we failed over there. We're about to see this in the Zohar now. But we have a chance to redeem ourselves, to come back. It says maybe too big of a job to do all at one time. I don't know. Let's see what the Saba says. So he said, Od Omar. Omar Od. He said furthermore, Ki ilmale de Chava Yisrael. We were in this horrible, horrible desert of Klipos. But if the Jewish people would not have sinned in the desert, and to nullify him from the world. And so what we could have done then, we would have been able to take over every single thing that the Samach Mem wants, all the false illusions, and we would have brought everything into ultimate oneness because of our relationship with the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. But because we sin like much at different times. And they got bit by the snake. That is the angel of selfishness. And we talked before about the anger and all of the lust and the different aspects of the Samach Mem that he breeds into us. Because then there's Kaim, and then and then you see the fulfillment of what Hashem says to the snake. Who Yeshuvcha Rosh, Vata Teshufanu Akev. Pira Yeshuvach Yektasacha. So they will cut you up. Come on, we said the Akos also. The Sarguma Bashafiso Yase. So strike him down. Behind the Yisroch Bamachu Reishi Bekadmisach Bedachav Yadachal Istamamina. It says like this: the Jews, when we got into this place, we knew that what we had to do with him, and he says the translate, Yisrael Haku Rosho B'Techilu. We first got there, we struck the Samach Mem in the head. But we still didn't learn that he can come back. He's endemic in the world. And to guard ourselves from it. He says, Ki, so then afterwards, after you passed him by and you thought that you had stunned him or brought him down, he comes around your backside and bites you. And then ultimately everybody fell in the desert. And this fulfills this pasuk. You should pour out, I guess, and strike me on my heel. At the end, that's the bottom, which is the heel, I guess, a metaphor. That's where you'll strike. So he says, Arba'im Shonim Chasur Shana. We then, as a result of this, we reached such a tremendously high place, and we struck down the head of the Samach Mem, but we didn't watch it, and we didn't guard ourselves from it, and we went on, and he bit us in the back. So we were smitten by Keneged Arboim. So then, therefore, it was like we were smitten for 40 years, just like you would have the 40 lashes. Malchus Chaser Achas, which is 40 minus 1 of the base. The Haldach Sivan, he goes on and written right there. There's a pasuk I want to show you. Shechav Ra'isa Shapirusha the Einaiku Chabach Haman Mahaku Mare the Madbro. Now let's see what this translation. Beinehem, with your own eyes. Hoyu roim es samach mem. You saw the samach mem. Shuhu Adon Amidbar, who is the master of the desert. That is the civilizations in which we have to live with these Gentiles, where we have to live under their rules and under their behavior and under the lies and the falseness they live by. Shehola kasha the venechem that goes around and it's tied in front of them. V'not le'achsante v'adve v'lo nachalasa v'goralto, and they took his portion, they took his lot. Milan me'ein lono zeh. What? How we know this? B'dechsev az nivchalu alefe Edom, because then we say that we're trembling. The leaders of Edom. Edom is Asaph. Asaph is the Samach man. Mihem, who are they? Be'ilun nachash sraf akrav. That's what he meant to say. The kings of Edom. That's the snake. That's the burning snake, the venomous snake, va'akrav, and the scorpion. V'tzimon, shehu daled rosha haklipos, which are the 4 heads of the klipos. So this is Baruch Fleischman, and this is the final Zohar here, coming up on Erev Shavuos, coming close. We've been talking, the Saba has been talking, this old man has been talking. The old man said that the Jews, when we came out of the Klipos of Mitzrayim, which was actually, we were enslaved to it, but somehow we broke out of that. We broke out of that because of who our fathers were. I guess, and we broke out of that. Well, so I'm going to get on to. We're going to wind up in the most tempting, horrible place in the world. This is where the Jewish people find themselves. And our job is to trample the head of the Samach Man and open up the channel of the light of the Kedusha to come in. So let's just look a little bit more, and let's see what we can say over here on this end. So now we're going to go out and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go out into the desert and learn Torah. Look Torah and be learning Torah over there. Because what there that's how we can do battle with that other side. In order to do battle, and to humble it. Let me tell you something, he says, that the only place that the words of Torah really last and really mean something is there. Because there's no light except what? That light that comes out of the darkness. Understand this. You need contrast in order to be able to see light. If there was only light, you wouldn't understand it. It's the same idea that we have in other places where we say that before godless comes in, you have to have katnas first. So small nine-mindedness, that is the mind of darkness, where it really can't see where to go, or maybe is making terrible mistakes. But that has to be a precedent or precede the light of greatness. The kad is kavir b'setra do, when it is beaten down and humbled down the Sitra Achra Hashochen b'midbar, that is it is living in places like the one in which we live now. Because we're able to refine out the sparks, Kaddish, the holy sparks, from the darkness of the false ideas, of the falseness. These things are all fed through Taivas Niyuv, sexual lust, libido, like Freudian idea, libidinal drive. He says, "Umotziim as bilam mepihim, as belom mepihim, and take up everything that they swallow and get them out of there, make them vomit it up." Mis Allah HaKodesh Baruch Hu, the Malach Miskaved Begavodo, that HaKodesh Baruch Hu is elevated, honored and glorified in His glory. So therefore, the only place that the Divrei Torah really matter is in a place of sin. Think about it. He says, Ella betoch hachoshech, but only in the midst, only does it shine, only from the midst of darkness, kasher adam is gaver al hayetzer hara, when a person is able to overcome his yetzer hara. Harotza lahachshech or nishmasa, who wants to darken the light of his neshama. Les tavach, there's only good within bad. Vein tov eler azeh sheyotze b'doch hara. There's only the only real way that you understand goodness, and it's a very deep idea, really. And you see over in the Sifra Tzniuta, they have the concept of the balance scale. That only by balance, that you have opposites, is it possible for one of them to emerge as good. Because if it's not there, then it's what it is, and that's it. There's no contrast. Ve'ein tov elazeh sheyotze b'doch hara v'nehefach l'tov. And this is how the Kitzainim are beaten down. This is Baruch Fleischman. This is the Tikkun Elevator Kolo. I think this is the 4th day of Sivan.